faces in the darkness, fashioning daylight out of song, and the millions of lovers alive in the world.
Oh, I love Jackson Browne. Nice. That was so sweet. I'd forgotten about that song. Well, friends, we're going to pick up with frenetic energy of fall. You ready? Good luck if it makes sense. We had a day on Thursday, I guess. We got home, Heidi and I, we were like, what just hit us? Right? Because just every direction, there was something almost on fire. Now, it wasn't like a big deal, but everywhere turned, right? And we were both just like, wow. And the wind was blowing outside. And I said, and she reminded, Heidi is my partner and has studied yoga. And so it was reminding her of the word in the ancient Indian Ayurvedic medicine and yoga tradition of Vata that falls. that working? Perfect. Okay. And so Vata literally translates to move or to blow like the wind. And it contains the elements of air and space. So Vata manages movement in our body and in our affairs, right? And the wind, of course, we know, has traditionally often been likened to spirit. The movement of spirit. The Hebrew word for spirit in the Hebrew Bible is ruha. Can also be translated as wind. This one seems to be struggling too, doesn't it? This is, okay, good. Translated, yeah. So, okay. All right, Vata, slow your roll. That's interesting. Think. To be alive, you go. To be alive in the world. Okay. Third time's a charm. The Hebrew word for spirit in the Hebrew Bible, ruach, can also be translated as wind. And the Greek word for spirit in the New Testament, pneuma, can also be translated as wind or breath. Right? And so we were marveling at the wind and how, you kind of think too much wind kind of makes you mad. It drives people crazy if it goes on mad. It drives people crazy if it goes on and on. But it's necessary too, right? It's necessary in the season. It's literally moving the season in. It helps to drop temperatures. It helps to move the leaves, right? And it carries us in times of change. It's moving. The trick is, do we allow, like the leaves so graciously do, the trees so graciously do, for things to fall away? Or do we grasp onto them, like humans so often do, and get blown with the wind? It was a really deep conversation, you can tell, we had. And very meaningful. And so I've been taken, and I've shared with you how even our Mother Nature has these reminders for us, these cues, this helpful energy. And this time is we're making a movement as we make our movement seasonally into winter, the darkness, where we are called inward to reflect and to nurture ourselves, to begin to prepare for what we want to let go of and what we want to plant again in the new year. We have to let go of some stuff. And we have to take time to think, to reflect. What's moving in me? What's trying to move me? And how am I holding on? And so it was all a very poignant lesson. And the frenetic part, you might, if you've been with us through our lessons on the 12 powers, which we're continuing today with the power of zeal. Zeal is our power of excitement, exuberance, audacity, and devotion. But zeal, enthusiasm, too much exuberance is like, whoa, slow down, lady, right? You can almost think, A, is it sincere? Is it real? And B, that person can just be exuberant about everything. And then it's just kind of annoying. So, fall is actually the perfect time for zeal. I'm going to suggest, and we might have gotten it backwards, don't tell the youth ministry because we follow their schedule. And I feel like release maybe needs to come before zeal, because we'll talk about our power of release next month. I'm not going to rewrite the whole curriculum, but as you see, we'll go through this, that ability to release, to let go of what no longer serves us. And that often is our own beliefs, our own habitual ways of thinking and doing that limit us being alive in the world fully and freely. And so to continue with that idea of zeal, I do want to say this. I looked up wind metaphysically. Wind metaphysically refers to life currents that come from within and surround the whole being. The executive power of mind clearing the way for higher and higher levels of consciousness, higher and higher levels of awareness, higher and higher understanding that there's more to me than this role, right? What is that more? How can I align with that? How can I experience more of that? And when we do that, it can feel very chaotic and confusing to let go of what we've known. Requires some faith that what we are letting go to open up to can be counted on, will come through for us. It can feel a little frenetic when the ways that you've known yourself and life and the world and God start to get blown around. So again, we say, do we trust that there is this divine purpose, this divine plan for not only our individual lives, but as we lean into that for our individual selves, we add to the collective experience. Our healing heals the world. Our growth, our expression, our expansion is part of the evolutionary process. It's easy to think of evolution as the big thing that the big guy Darwin talked about. Well, like, I'm not involved in that. Oh, yes, we are. We are part of it. We're part of it. And our culture and our society has just tried to null us to sleep. No, we are powerful beyond measure. And when we step into that, it is scary. It is uncertain. And the power of zeal, ultimately, this power of enthusiasm, of audacity, this book by Linda Martella-Whitsett, divine audacity, dare to be the light of the world. I dare you. Who are we not to be? So, she tells us this, though, about this power of zeal, Linda Martella-Whitsett. There is a difference between frenetic energy and zeal. You didn't think I was going to make any of this make sense, did you? Frenetic energy is wasted energy, flowing out in turbulent emotions. Zeal, on the other hand, is directed energy, focusing on the ideal that you want to realize. Focusing on what you're trying to realize in your life. You turn on the television or get on your social media, you will be blown in every direction. And you'll think that's the ideal, depending on your age. Some of us know better. We're not going to buy all those products anymore. Anyway, sorry. So what is your ideal? From a spiritual standpoint, the ideal that we're working towards is to know, to claim, to trust the Christ of our being. That part within us that is of spirit itself. That part within us that can connect. You know it. You've just fooled yourself if you forgot. You know it. And when things get really frenetic and crazy, it's real easy to get swept away. Ooh. So, as our reading this morning talked about, there is the center within us that is calm. The center within us where we connect with spirit. That never... It's always there. It's just us that forgets to take the time to connect. To say, here's the other thing about zeal. Zeal fuels the evolutionary process, according to Linda Martello-Whitsitt. Through our enthusiasm, through our audacity to make a world that's better than what we found, through our devotion to that. And how do we do that first and foremost? This is important. Give a shout out. How do you begin to leave the world better than you found it? In your own life. Start in your own life, in your own propensity to judge or to disconnect or to doubt. All the things that we do to separate ourselves from the truth of our being and from each other. Right? It's really tempting to say, I'm going to go change the world. Look out. And there are people who've done that. But they first and foremost, if they did it well, they handled what was going on in them. And they remembered to do that, first and foremost. Because then your vision is clear. Your stuff isn't flapping in the wind all over everybody that you don't want to look at. That's not mine, that's yours. Well, it's funny, you're always here when it happens, Trish. Huh. So Linda Martello-Whitsitt says that although zeal can often be observed in an effervescent personality, the potency of zeal comes from within. It is an inner flame, a spirit-driven flame that propels us with enthusiasm and with audacity and with devotion. We're going to be talking more about devotion next week. So I wanted to just sort of ground a little bit of what you might be feeling. Anyone else feeling frenetic energy? Wow, one of you? Come on, people. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Yeah. And the other thing is we decide what we attend to, right? You can't follow it all. So when we get centered, then it becomes, actually, as we do that, what is ours to do, either in our own life, in our collective life, in our world, starts dropping in. It's not about, by God, I'm going to do it this way. No, it's kind of a releasing. And yeah, sometimes your own stuff comes up. I need to deal with this. I need to deal with this grief. I need to deal with this resentment. I need to deal with this doubt. Oftentimes. And then sometimes it's, I need to work at such and such. I need to call my aunt who I haven't talked to. I need to. So there is that spirit, that Holy Spirit moving like the wind within humanity that fuels our level of zeal, enthusiasm, audacity, and devotion. So I know I've given some thought to, when you come here on Sundays, what you might be coming from, which is the world. The world, I mean, this is the world. We're in the world. The world still exists, even though you're in here this morning, just so you know. It's hard, it's a rude awakening sometimes. But I think rather than thinking, talking, you might use some more time in silence to get still, to make that connection. Because when we're really feeling frenetic, that's kind of the first thing to go. And oftentimes when we try to get still, it's very uncomfortable because we're like, so literally at that point, we need to just get in our body. This movement, this wisdom that's coming through, that we need to be embodied. We have been disembodied. I always struggle when I say that because I don't want to say something else accidentally. There you go. There it is. So I want to offer you that opportunity now as we go into a time of meditation to recognize on some level that we are affected by the collective. And yes, there's a season of change. The fall season is ushering in another round of death and life. And there's a collective change in the wind of our life that we're living in. And we want to open up to that. Here's the thing. We will never grow. Vata is a necessary part of growth. If there's no movement, there's no change. And yet we recognize how for human beings change, even if we say we love it, it's disturbing, it feels unsafe, it feels unsteady, we feel unsure, and we don't always act our best from that place. And we're seeing that. We're seeing all sorts of divisive, scare tactic nonsense. So get in our bodies, get in our right minds, right? Know who we are, know what our purpose is, and take time to just unplug from all that's going on out here. And the brilliance is we can do that. We have the capacity to do that, so we're going to do that together. So just invite you to take a deep breath, ring this singing bowl every Sunday that is tuned to our heart chakra. So it's an invitation to let that sound drop you from your head to your heart. Just take a deep breath. I invite you to close your eyes or lower your gaze and feel the support of the chair behind your back, the floor under your feet, deepening your breath, letting it take you inward. So the invitation is to let our breath be the invitation inward, quieting our mind. Feel how just taking a good deep breath brings you a little closer to right here, right now. And so do that again. And we acknowledge that the purpose of our mind is to stay busy and to be thinking. And so we're just going to invite it to slow that for this moment. We're going to give it something to think about. Right now, we're going to let it focus on our breath. And then we're going to take our focus to our feet. Just feel the soles of your feet on the ground. What it feels like, your foot feels like in your shoe. Consider that your feet are on holy ground. Not necessarily in this place, in this space, but because you are here, in this body. The spirit of life itself is animating you. So we are on holy ground. And bring your attention up to your calves, your kneecaps, breathing into your legs. Can you imagine that? Breathing into your legs. Bringing your attention up to your abdomen. Taking a deep breath and inviting that area to relax. Holds a lot of tension there. Coming on up to your solar plexus. Might even put your hand there. Just feeling the experience of having this physical body and all that it holds. bringing your attention to your fingers, to your hands. You might close them in a fist and relax them. Considering all that these hands have done, the work of your hands. Up your arms to your shoulders. Oh, the weight that those shoulders bear. Just take a breath and see if they'll fall a little bit. And then that base of your neck, where your Zeal center lives, the base of your brainstem, relaxing your neck. Again, tension in the neck is often a sign of resistance. Invite your breath to loosen your neck. And then placing your hand on your heart, invite you to just literally take a breath into your heart. This is where we feel the movement of spirit. We don't just think about it, we feel it. Our capacity to love, our heart's wisdom. So there is the center of you, right there in your heart space. The calm in the middle of a storm. Just take a breath and feel into all that you hold there. The joy and the sadness, yes. That is the gift of life. That all that brings us joy will also potentially bring us sadness. That's the depth of love doing its work through us. And we know that love will not forsake us. That love endures. As we say here every Sunday, God is love. So just take a breath and know that the love of God is loving through you right here, right now. Let yourself be the recipient of that love. And release anything that wants to come up to tell you a story about how you don't deserve that or can't have that. That's your story, not God's. And as we breathe in the depth of that love for ourselves, we can begin to breathe it out to those around us. Shining and sharing that love one to another. Imagine that love as light going out of this building, out of the doors, into the streets. In our mind's eye, let us see a world where all hearts are illumined. The love of Spirit. May we each and every one know the truth of our being, that we may indeed go on to be a blessing in this world. And to claim and to receive the blessings that are meant for us. So take one more deep breath. Just invite you to open your eyes, come back to this time and space if you haven't already. I wanted to make a quick mention to the community altar out in the narthex here. It's in the tradition, the Mexican tradition of Días de los Muertos, which is celebrated the first 2 days in November. And that is a rich tradition of celebrating ancestors, and with not only their pictures, but some of their favorite things, with the idea that on those days they may be invited back. Might be the spirits might come back for a visit. And so it's like remembering, mourning a little bit, and also celebrating. And I don't know about you, but I more than ever, I'm like, yeah, I might need to call upon my ancestors. Call upon their wisdom. Call upon their love. We've put this year some photos from Unity Spiritual Center Denver over the years, with the first minister, Reverend Alice Benson, is out there. She is marrying in 1952, I think, Bill Garby, who's back there with us still today. There's a picture of Wayne Roselle as a YOUer. Said, is that Wayne Roselle as a teenager? I think he's 70 now. I don't know where he is, but he was here this morning. There he is. No, that's not him. Anyway. As well as Annalie Rawson, who recently made her transition. So, honoring those ministers who served in this community, who pioneered, who held the space for the next evolution of Unity Spiritual Center Denver, of which you are now a part of, by the way. And we're also inviting you to bring members of your family or your friends who have passed. There's somebody's pet out there. So we'll build a community altar, remembering and celebrating those who have left this physical planet together. And also sort of with the invitation, if you go on Dias de los Muertos, to visit us, to shed sprinkles of their wisdom and their love. So I invite you to take advantage of that. And then on November 3rd, after the service, we'll sort of have an extended celebration with the taco truck and some fun for the kids outside. Adults can get their faces painted too. We don't discriminate on ages. So it'll be fun for everybody. I just wanted to draw your attention to that, so thank you. And now is the time in our service where we give of our good in support of this ministry in terms of financial support. I know many of you do that online, so thank you for that. There are baskets in the back for cash and check as you leave. If you'd like to know how you can do that electronically, there's a QR code on the back of your bulletin, I believe. And then on the insert is that QR code for giving to the Greater Engagement Fund, which will be matched. We're almost to our goal there, so if you'd like to do that, there's information for how you can do that. So however you are choosing to give today, let's take this moment to bless the love offering together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. I am thankful.
I claim a blessing.